Recent NBC News Wall Street Journal poll indicated a majority of Americans approved of last week's Supreme Court decision to make so-called partial birth or late-term abortions illegal. Most of the people on this stage put out statements and criticized the ruling. A lot of American families find this just a hideous topic for discussion. Is this a case, do you think, of the Supreme Court and the public with opinions in one place and yet a lot of elected officials in another?
No, I don't believe it is. I would say first that this decision by the Supreme Court is actually a perfect example of what's at stake in this election. The kind of people that will be appointed to the United States Supreme Court by the next president will control whether a woman's freedom to choose, make her own health care decisions, will be made by her or will be made by the government or by some men sitting on the United States Supreme Court. So I think it's really crucial for all voters who are listening to this debate, including here in South Carolina, to make a very hard decision about who's most likely to be strong in winning this election. Now, on the issue of abortion, I believe in a woman's right to choose, but I think this is an extraordinarily difficult issue for America. And I think it is very important for the President of the United States to recognize, while I believe the government should not make these health care decisions for women, I believe they should have the freedom to make them for themselves. This is a very difficult issue for many people, and I think we have to show respect for people who have different views about this.
Senator, thank you. Senator Obama, on this same topic, what about your view on the decision on partial birth abortion and your reaction to most of the public agreeing with the court's holding?
You know, I think that most Americans recognize that this is a profoundly difficult issue for the women and families who make these decisions. They don't make them casually. And I trust women to make these decisions in conjunction with their doctors and their families and their clergy. And I think that's where most Americans are. Now, when you describe a specific procedure that accounts for less than 1% of the abortions that take place, then naturally people get concerned. And I think legitimately so. But the broader issue here is, do women have the right to make these profoundly difficult decisions, and I trust them to do it. Now, there's a broader issue, though, and that is, can we move past some of the debates around which we disagree? And can we start talking about the things we do agree on? Reducing teen pregnancy, making it less likely for women to find themselves in the circumstances where they've got to anguish over these decisions. Those are areas where I think we can all start mobilizing and move forward rather than look backwards.
Senator, thank you. Senator Biden, as president, would you have a specific litmus test question on Roe versus Wade that you would ask of your nominees for the High Court?
I strongly support Roe v. Wade. I wouldn't have a specific question, but I'd make sure that the people I sent and nominated for the Supreme Court shared my values and understood that there is a right to privacy in the United States Constitution. That's why I led the fight to defeat Bork. Thank God he's not on the court, or Roe v. Wade would be gone by now. Number two, that's why I was so outspoken and been criticized for being outspoken and leading the effort to try to defeat Roberts and Alito. That's why I opposed the other Thomas on the court. The truth of the matter is that this decision was intellectually dishonest. I think it's a rare procedure that should only be available when the woman's life and health is at stake. But what this court did, it took that decision and it put a Trojan horse in to, through actually dishonest reasoning, lay the groundwork for undoing Roe v. Wade. That's the danger of this decision. Not the specific procedure, but the rationale offered to justify, I think, the next step they're going to try to take.
Senator, thank you. Congressman Kucinich, same question. Would you ask a litmus test Roe versus Wade question of High Court nominee?
Any of my appointments to the High Court would necessarily reflect my thinking. I don't know how it could be otherwise. I intend to be a president who's a healer, who understands that this country has been put in a debate that has torn it apart. But the truth of the matter is, it's possible, I believe, to take a course of action where you can get all the people of America in support of a culture of life which includes prenatal care, postnatal care, child care, universal health care, a living wage, all those things that give support to life. And we also need to listen carefully to those who are concerned about abortion. At the same time, a healer as president will help reconcile this nation and cause a woman's right to privacy to be protected unquestioningly, protect Roe v. Wade, but also go out and listen to people and engage people and open up hearts, because this is an issue that requires an enormous amount of compassion. And that's the approach I would take.
Congressman, thank you. Senator Dodd, you were the only senator on this stage to vote to confirm Chief Justice Roberts. Do you regret your vote?
No, I'm disappointed terribly by the decision that he reached the other day, because he did something he said he wouldn't do. He said during his confirmation hearings that he would uphold precedent. That was a very important answer he gave to me. I did not have the same degree of satisfaction when Justice Alito made a similar statement. And what he did, of course, is walk away from a woman's health. For 34 years, a woman's health has been a major consideration on this issue since Roe versus Wade was first decided. And to deviate from that, to me, was a major, major setback here. I happen to believe a woman has a right to choose. I voted that way and supported that for the 26 years I've been in the United States Senate. But I also think what Dennis just said is extremely important. Abortions ought to be rare, safe, and legal. And I think all of us here, regardless of your views on the question, would like to see national leadership in the country would start providing additional choices so that women aren't faced with just the choice they have today. Supporting expanded adoption, children's health issues. These are things I've worked on for the last 26 years, having started the Children's Caucus in the United States Senate, worked on children's health issues. That's something we need to place far more attention instead of just going back and forth on this question without dealing with the issue of how we can minimize this from occurring.
Senator, thank you. We'd like to ask the same question of